So what kind of parasites do vultures get? This was actually going to be one video, but now it might be a few. Before we get started, there are two main groups of vultures in the world. There are the New World vultures that live up in the Americas, and then there's the Old World vultures that live everywhere else. And they're actually two different families of birds that convergently evolved to look pretty similar, but they're not really that closely related. And we're going to start with the vultures that live in the United States. We have three species of vulture or vulture-like birds that live in the US, the first one being the turkey vulture, then the black vulture, and the California condor. Now when you look up vulture parasites, the vast majority of the things you're going to find are blood parasites. Protozoans like Plasmodium that can cause bird malaria is typically what are found. So my main field of study are animal parasites like worms and arthropods. I don't study a whole lot of protozoans, so I don't know too much about them. And when it comes to animal parasites of vultures, there's really not much to find. They do get ectoparasites like ticks and lice. This is the California condor louse, and they're actually completely extinct. Many species of lice are typically found on one host species, so when the last of the California condors were taken from the wild for breeding programs, they were deloused, meaning that species of lice completely went extinct. This is a phenomenon known as conservation-induced extinction, and it's happened to other species besides the California condor. So why is it so hard to find stuff about internal parasites of vultures? There might be a couple of reasons. The first reason is that the stomach acid pH of vultures is extremely low, often being less than 1. That would make the internal habitat of a vulture very difficult for something like a tapeworm to survive in. The second reason is that vultures are scavengers. They eat animals that have long been dead. Any parasites that are in the carcasses that they're feeding on are probably dead as well, and they're often feeding on animals that were the final host for their parasites. So even if a living tapeworm did get into one of these vultures, it's not the host that it wants to be in, so it probably wouldn't survive anyway. However, after saying all that, that doesn't mean that there's absolutely zero internal parasites of vultures, and a real special one was found in the black vulture. Back in 2004, a paper was published about a new pentastomid that was discovered infecting the trachea of a black vulture. Pentastomids are parasitic crustaceans that are often called tongueworms. They infect the respiratory tract of mainly reptiles, but also a few birds, such as the black vulture. They have specialized hooks that will clamp onto the trachea of their host, where they will feed on blood and sometimes mucus. And that's really all I could find in terms of internal parasites of vultures that live in the United States.